Thanks for coming. We are really excited.
No. No, really doesn't cut it, man. You're going to have to do better.
All right. Let's do this again. We are incredibly excited.
All right.
Better? Cool. We are incredibly excited to share with you our latest extensibility solution for Outlook that will empower our users. So I'm Shivkumar Sitaraman. I'm a program manager. And joining me today is
David Clow, program manager as well. We're working in the same team that we call the Outlook ecosystem team.
All right, let's start with the first slide here. This is a general slide which talks about the various solutions provided by the Office platform. There are three major areas shown here corresponding to these various solutions. The features we're going to talk about today touches some aspect of each of these areas. So you can take your pick. So let's begin with a brief history. Teams collaborate to get things done effectively. These teams, they have shared conversations. They share resources such as files, calendars. And so with Office 365 groups, this is a great solution again from Microsoft. It provides a great mechanism for teams to collaborate. These groups, they have shared conversation. Every conversation is shared by members within a group. How many people here are familiar with Office 365 groups? Okay, that's a good number. That's great. So you can share conversations, you can share resources such as files, calendar, Outlook, that really help enhance teams' productivity. Again, a popular service used by millions of Office 365 users. But these teams, they also use other services to get their job done. They use Twitter for marketing, they use CRM apps like Salesforce, Dynamics, they use project management tools like Trello, Asana, things that are really important for their productivity as well. But these users, they need to stay on top of things. One way that gets done today is via email notifications. It fulfills their productivity to some extent. They can stay in touch with what's going on. But with groups, there's a challenge. Most groups are private. And what I mean by that is teams don't typically share the email address of groups for the concern of spam. So around 6 months back, we unveiled connectors for groups. With connectors, any member of a group can natively connect to an external service and subscribe to notifications from those services. There's a centralized management UI from where the user can configure and select the specific notifications they care about. These notifications are granular. The notifications that come within the group, they are represented in a consistent card format, and it contains the information that the user really cares about as well. We'll be taking a look at it in a moment. So there's a catalog of about 90 connectors. It's pretty rich, and it spans several segments. You can go try that today. If you find, or if you don't find, there's a service that you care about, do let us know, and we will be happy to engage with you folks. So like I mentioned, you can configure connectors from within Outlook web app. However, you can consume this from any group client, namely OVA, Outlook, and Groups mobile app. There's another important thing here to note. So whatever I'm talking about right now and what we're going to show in a moment, it's available as a platform. So what that means is that pretty much what we have done today is something that you can also build upon. So this is something available to you guys. So feel free to go try it out and contribute to your users. This uses the standard technologies, HTTP webhooks and OAuth for access control. The data or the payload uses a JSON-based format. There's a developer portal for you to try, implement, and submit your own connectors. So it can be published to all our users. So we won't be spending a lot of time today talking about the developer story. We have a lot of valuable resources available online. If you go to dev.outlook.com/connectors, there's a lot of valuable resources you can reference there. So let's start with a quick demo for connectors with groups. So I'm going to switch here to my machine. Great. Thank you, David. So what you see here is I'm logged on to my mailbox in Outlook web app. I have my inbox. I also have a couple of groups that I'm part of. There's a marketing group. And in the interest of time, I'm just going to show you some pre-configured connectors. So within a group, you can launch connectors management UI, as I've shown you. And it brings up the catalog of all the connectors we have. And as you see, there's a number of them there. You can quickly get to the one you have configured. And I have a couple of them. So I have MailChimp and Salesforce. So let's take a look at what a MailChimp connector configuration looks like. And it's pretty straightforward. There's the account information with which I've signed in into MailChimp using OAuth. And there is some very basic information as to the frequency at which I want to receive these reports. So again, MailChimp is an email marketing stat tool where you can actually publish campaigns, email campaigns, and receive statistics on engagement. So I've set this connector up. And this is now shared with every user within the group. From here, here's an example of a connector card. So this report, in this case, is generated about once a day. That's the frequency I believe I've set it to. And it gives some very key information that you can quickly absorb from this card that gives the summary of the campaign performance. Another example is Salesforce. Again, with this card, what I've done is subscribed to a Salesforce account and a specific opportunity that I care about. And any updates on that opportunity is delivered right within my group. So if there's a team of salespeople who is working or cares about this opportunity, you can get that right within the group. Okay, switching on. Oh, I've got the clicker. Thank you. Okay, so since the last 6 months since we released connectors, we have onboarded a lot of new partners. So in your mind, you can try to guess some of these names, and I'll reveal them in a moment. There you go.
Well, Shiva, I think this is really, really nice. So you can see there's a lot of work that we've been doing since build. Plenty of new connectors, including the existing ones that we had before. Again, a catalog of 90 connectors. But it seems to me that there's something missing, like really.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, it's in the name of the session, and it's what we call actionable messages. So let's talk about that.
Go for it, David.
Thank you. So I don't know if you're like me. There's plenty of emails that I receive every day. I know, Shiva, it's the same for you. I know, Pritish here, it's the same for you as well, and Sohail as well. Plenty of emails, they ask me to do stuff. And 100% of the time, what I have to do is click on a link somewhere in that email, be taken to an external website, find my way there, which sometimes is somewhat easy. Sometimes it's really like, okay, what is it really that I'm supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? It's too complicated. And it's so complicated that sometimes I say, yeah, okay, I'll do it later because I really have no time to waste right now. And that's really not good for productivity because maybe someone is expecting me or waiting on me to do something. So what if, you've probably all read the slide already, what if you could do such quick things as accepting or approving an expense report, retweeting, liking a Twitter post, maybe adding a comment to a GitHub issue, that kind of stuff. What if you could do that right inside Outlook without leaving the client, without having to navigate to another site? Well, that's exactly what we're going to allow you to do with Actionable Messages. They are built on top of the exact same card format that we ship with connectors. So it's a JSON-based format that each and every client in our portfolio that supports them is able to render perfectly well with great visual consistency and with a great layout. So that means it's not up to the connector or whatever is sending those actionable messages to decide what the layout is. It will always look good. It supports now actions, but it also supports inputs, as we're going to see very quickly. That means that via those messages, you're going to be able to ask users to provide some information, then take an action by typically clicking a button, and that action will actually take the input as a parameter and be done with it. So it's really, the scenario is you got to be quick, you got to be able to do that super, super quickly. And really the end game here is you get less distraction, there's less context switch, and in the end, we are positive this is going to greatly improve productivity across the board. So the first way you're going to be able to get those actionable messages and interact with them is via connectors. So today we're announcing that we're going to make actionable messages available via connectors. Some of our most popular connectors are now action-enabled. So this is a preview, meaning that it's going to be coming over the next few weeks. So you're going to start seeing these things over the next few weeks. The general availability of the platform is going to come a little later. But as a first example, in the domain of developer productivity, we have enabled the GitHub connector with actions. As you can see here, you're going to be soon able to add a comment or even close an issue right from Outlook. No navigation to an external website. For developers, GitHub is not the only one. We also have Bitbucket enabled with actions. In the context of social and news, I've briefly mentioned it before, Twitter is now enabled with actions. You can like and retweet. If you rely on Twitter for your marketing campaigns, this could actually be a great productivity enhancer for you. But the area that we're all most excited about right now is the task and customer management area. Those really can benefit from those actions. Wunderlist is just one example. You're going to be able to set the due date of a task in Wunderlist. Here, add a note as well. But that's not the only one. We're also going to build Trello, which we'll talk a lot more about shortly. Asana, which is another task management system like Trello, which is also quite popular. And Zendesk, which is a customer management system, which is gaining quite a bit of popularity. And instead of just showing you what a card may look like in Outlook, let's just go ahead and demonstrate it, right?
That's right. Let's go for it.
So Zendesk, there are really two roles in there. And I don't know why this actually went off. In Zendesk, you have two roles. There is usually an agent and an SME, a subject matter expert. I'm going to play the role of the agent here. Shiva is going to be the SME. What you have to understand is I am the only one who has a license for Zendesk. Right? I can connect to Zendesk, I can work in Zendesk, create tickets. Shiva, however, cannot. So up until now, it was actually quite hard to have us both work together on a ticket because whatever I do in one system is not really visible in the other. As the one who hold the license for Zendesk, I'm also the one who is supposed to configure the connector. So I'm going to pass on the details here, but I went to the right group in OWA, the help desk group in that particular case, and I configured it so that I configured the Zendesk connector so it is able to push actionable messages to that group. So what you see here is the Zendesk dashboard, and I have pre-created that ticket here in order to save a little bit of time. I don't want you to see me type, or as little as possible. And this is like the typical issue where, let's say, the Traders Inc. app is crashing frequently after the last update, and I'm in need for help from Shiva. So what I'm going to do is elevate this issue to Office 365. So again, as the agent, I decide when I want to do that. Not all tickets actually deserve to be elevated to an Office 365 group. Here, I really want Shiva and basically everybody in his team to see that ticket and be able to help me with it. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to ask, please help. Thank you. And submit. And it should be completed in 1 sec. That's it. And let's go now on Shiva's machine.
So that was pretty quick. So as soon as he escalated that ticket, it shows up right within the group. This is the help desk group. And you see here, once I click on this, this is the escalation ticket as a notification right within that group. It has all the key information. It tells me that David's having a problem or customers are having a problem with the app. So here's what I can do now with actionable messages. I can simply respond back with an internal note back to Zendesk. So I'm going to type something here. Try upgrade. Is it upgrade? Yep, upgrading to the latest version. Okay, and I'm going to post this. And that should be pretty much it. So in a moment, the note was added successfully. So let's switch back to the Zendesk app.
And as you can see, Zendesk has been notified pretty much immediately as soon as that action was executed. So there's really no delay here. Everything was completely streamlined. As the agent, I can immediately see that Shiva has added a comment that basically allows me to understand how to unblock my customers. At this point, I can close the ticket, get in touch with them, and be on with my life and the next ticket. So I just really want to emphasize here, again, I am the only one who owns the license to use Zendesk. Before this kind of functionality built into Outlook, doing all of this would have required that we both probably talk about that ticket over email, make sure that we reference it the right way, maybe add a link, then that would have forced us to navigate to, it's not practical. And this is where, thinking about that kind of scenario, we thought, yeah, actionable messages are going to make a big difference. And I think here's a perfect example of that. In just a couple of minutes, we were able to do something that would have taken a lot longer without actionable messages.
So David, that's really cool. Can we go a step further?
Actually, Shiva, we absolutely can. So I don't know where I put the clicker. Here. We absolutely can. And to go one step further, we're going to think about what the reality is. The reality is that, yeah, groups are great, right? We have millions of users of Outlook groups, but they're a shared space. If I'm going to configure a group with all the possible notifications anyone in the group might be interested in the end there's going to be too much in there, because a group of 30 people, maybe not everyone is interested in receiving, I don't know, GitHub notifications, right? So we need to be sensible about that. We need to recognize that not all notifications apply to everybody. We also absolutely understand that not everybody works in groups. Sometimes people are going to work a little bit in groups, but most of their time is going to be spent in their inbox. In fact, there are lots of people still don't work with groups at all, right? That's the reality, right? The inbox remains the place where you do most of your work. And to some extent, in the inbox, as was mentioned earlier, we already get notifications from some of the services that we care about. The problem is those notifications, and that was one of the reasons we did connectors in the first place, they are rarely useful because they're either too many, not enough, they contain too much information or not enough, and they're not actionable. Again, 100% of the time, you'd click on a link and you'd be taken to an external website. So our solution to that is simply to bring connectors to the inbox. So in a few weeks, this is still a preview. Everything that we're going to present today is essentially a preview. In a few weeks, connectors are going to be available in your inbox, which means that you're going to be able to get the exact same power, the card, and the actionable messages right inside your inbox. And what best to talk about it than to show a demo. And To start the demo, actually, we told you there would be a little more about Trello very soon. Actually, I don't need to do this. I need to go here in my mailbox. I want notifications from Trello because that's how I do my work. So let me walk you through me configuring the Trello connector for myself in my inbox. So I clicked on that gear icon here. We're going to find Manage Integrations. And you can note here that we now have that unified experience that allows users to configure add-ins as well as connectors. So it lands on the add-ins page first. And for that matter, I strongly recommend Andrew Salamatov's session today, which absolutely, unfortunately, is happening right now. So if you really want, that's the way it is. If you want to see, he's going to talk a lot about add-ins and the immense power that they provide. Go to the Ignite website tomorrow. It's going to be available for streaming. Right now, we're going to switch to the connectors page by clicking on that tab. And you're going to see this is the exact same UI as was displayed before in the context of groups. And here it so happens that the Trello connector appears at the top, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a configuration. Technically, I should authenticate to my Trello account or to the Trello account that I'm interested in, but that's already done. We're going to pass on that, and I can select the right account here. This is the right one. I am interested in the board called Ignite 2016. Good thing that it's selected by default. And I am interested in basically all those notifications here. But as Shiva was saying before, there's a lot more granularity going on, which is why connectors are so interesting in the first place. And it so happens that in this particular case, I'm also interested in that event. Basically, the due date changed on a particular card. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to save. Hopefully, it's going to take just a couple seconds. Yes. And I just received a message that tells me that the Trello connector is now configured for my account. I'm going to hand it over to Shiva, who is actually working in Trello. Actually, that's the wrong Shiva. I'm sorry. Other screen.
So this is Trello. Again, it's a task management solution. And David and we have been collaborating on the Ignite presentation by tracking our tasks in Trello. So right now, I'm going to quickly create a task here. Publish slides. I'm going to create. Once I do that, I'm also going to assign it or add a member, David, to this card. Okay, and that's it. So that I've created this task for David.
So let's go back to my machine. And as you can see, and again, this was like basically immediate. There's no delay. It just happens. So the workflow is really, really streamlined. What I see is that I did receive a card created that's coming from the activity Shiva did in Trello, and that says a new card was created. Right? It wants me to publish the slides, apparently. But I can see that he didn't set a due date, which is kind of weird. Why didn't you set a due date, man?
I forgot.
Oh, okay. And there's another card here. Oh, he added me as a member. Okay, so that makes sense. All right, Shiva, I need a due date. So what I'm going to do, in real life, I would not be talking to you, right? But I'm going to add a comment to that card. Can you please tell me the due date? All right? I'm going to save that. And we're going to go back to your machine. It's a great thing that it actually switches that fast.
So if you see this, David's comment has been propagated back into Trello. But at the same time, it gives me the choice of now receiving these notifications in inbox as well. So I have also configured the Trello to my inbox. So now I have the choice of whether working in Trello or whether an email, and I can keep track of activities at both places. So that's really a great thing. So in this case, I've just seen David's comment, and he's asking for the due date. So I'm going to go set that right from Outlook. So I'm going to give him a day. I think that's plenty.
A day?
I know you're faster than that.
Well, actually, yes, I am, because it's already done, obviously. We're here. But we'll go back to my machine, and we'll pretend that I'm outraged. So here is, back into my conversation, I see that the due date has changed for published slides. I see that Shiva is really pushing it here. But anyway, yeah, it's done. It's OK. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to pretend that I'm done, I worked on it, and so on. And in Trello, the way you mark a card as complete is usually by moving it to another list. So I'm going to use that move feature, which is going to allow me to select the list in which I want to move it, in this case, the completed list, and I'm going to submit this. Once again, go back to Shiva's machine, who can show you that in Trello, the card has indeed been moved to the completed list. Again, I want you to note how fast this goes. It's like almost instantaneous, right? Very little delay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is just another great example, we believe, of how you can really increase your productivity. This is, again, something that would have taken a lot longer had we not had that feature. The beauty here is that Shiva works in Trello, but he also works in Outlook. Had he been looking at Trello at the moment I asked for the due date, he would probably have set the due date in Trello, because that's where he was. But if he was working in the group at that time, he gets the card and can do the same thing right from Outlook. There's no context switch. Now, note that we do not aim at replacing the entire functionality set of any of those third-party apps that we're talking about here. It's just targeted to those actions that you should be able to do extremely quickly from Outlook without having to think too much about it, right? Because the moment you have something really, really serious to do, you're probably going to want to go to that external service. So they are really complementary. And so actionable messages via connectors. Here is going to be our portfolio at launch. We are not shipping our 90-plus connectors for the inbox initially. And the reason for that is very simple. We want to target those scenarios that we really believe have value in the inbox. And for sure, we want to engage with all those partners and make sure that they're on board and agree with the scenarios and that they vouch for what we're providing. So 10 connectors available in inbox. There will probably be a lot more in the short future. 6 of them are already actionable. And that means that those are the 6 that you really want to consider in your day-to-day workflow. It's really going to help streamline your business practices.
So David, this is super exciting. Do you guys agree? All right. So how about pushing this a bit further?
You want to push it even further.
That's right.
Can we do that? Yes, we can. And we think you're going to love it. We are also going to make those actionable messages available via traditional SMTP messages. This is, again, just a preview for now, but it's coming very soon. And the idea is those connectors, when you configure them, it's because you've decided how you wanted to organize your workday, right? It's a self-organization tool, essentially. But there are plenty of business processes that are pushed to you that you really don't have a choice but to be a part of. Like as a lead at Microsoft, we have to constantly approve expense reports. This is not something that we can skip. We have to do it. And the process, again, I wouldn't say challenging, but it's a distraction. You do it when you have time because you have to navigate to that site and then do something there. If you had the opportunity to do it in a much more streamlined way, it would probably be a lot better. So that means if you receive that kind of notification and those actions in a simple email, it would be great. The big advantage of that model as well is that it doesn't require any configuration from the end users, as opposed to connectors where you opt in. Here you just get it, but you don't just get anything or everything, right? Third-party services that allow, that support actionable messages over SMTP, we vet them. So we've worked with them, we've validated their scenario. We know that everything is safe and secure. I'll continue on that in just a few seconds. And there's also the most important aspect, at least as far as us two are concerned, is that actionable messages over SMTP, it's not just those third-party services that can take advantage of them. Internally, for your own line of business applications, the code that you own, you can take advantage of that like right now, well, just in a couple weeks maybe. It's extremely simple. You just embed an additional JSON payload in the script portion of the body, the HTML body of your messages, right? Note that no code is ever executed on the client. No code whatsoever. That payload is just a description of the UI. The actions themselves are just posts, HTTP posts to a service. It's completely secure. There's no risk whatsoever. And there's one more thing that I'd like to touch on, which unfortunately we are not going to be able to demo, but we think it has so much to offer as an extra feature of that whole thing. That's what we call dynamic card refresh. Essentially, you can imagine receiving a card, and once an action is taken into that card, technically the action should not be available anymore, right? So it should just go away. And maybe the content of the card should be refreshed to show additional information that reflects the new status of the object that you've been acting on. That's what you can do with card refreshes. Completely replace the card that was displayed on the screen with a brand new version that can contain more actions, fewer actions, no actions at all, new content, same content, updated content. There's so much capabilities in there. Anyway, just wanted to mention it in passing. We are not able to demo it today, unfortunately. So actionable messages via SMTP. Again, the best way to talk about it is to actually demo it. And is it me or you who starts here? It's you, Shiva, right?
Yeah.
And you're on 7, no 8.
8, there you go. All right, so for this demo, we have a couple of systems that we're using. So this is a list in SharePoint, and pretend that this is our vacation approval tracking system where we file vacation approvals. There's another solution, which is Microsoft Flow. If you're aware of Flow, it's a business automation tool or a workflow automation tool. And this has been set to take an item from the SharePoint list. So once we create an item in that list, it takes that item. It then sends an approval email to a recipient, in this case, to David. And it's going to drop that actionable email in his mailbox. And once he takes an action, either he approves or declines it, it's going to send back that response back into the SharePoint list and update it. And similarly, the recipients are also going to get some sort of an approval or a decline mail. So that's pretty much what this is about. So let me start by creating a vacation approval. So it's been a while since I've taken a break. I'm really tired from this Ignite sessions. So I'm going to take some time off. Again, a very rudimentary app to demonstrate the capability. So I'm going to take off from tomorrow, probably, let's say, until next week. All right. So I'm going to create this.
Shiva, excuse me, but I find it a little hard to swallow. You just came back from vacation.
That was you, David. That was convenient.
I guess. All right, man. So what's going to happen now is I'm the approver for vacation in the company. So I'm going to get that notification. I'm going to think about it maybe for a few seconds before I approve or reject. Actually, I'm kind of filling in here because it's not showing up in my mailbox just yet. But it's going to come in very, very soon now. Maybe. There it is. There you go. See, always be a little patient. Well, I'm talking about me here. So again, a very typical scenario. Here you can see that the card looks a bit different. Again, there are various layout capabilities with that card, but it's always a consistent look and feel. And we own the styling so that it always looks great in Outlook. So Shiva, it's okay. Given that it was me, I was probably in Vegas. That's why I don't remember.
Thank you.
Anyway, that's for you, man. Go ahead. Have fun. You want me to show? Yeah. Let's show that you actually are made aware of the fact that your vacation is approved.
There you go. And you're even saying some kind words. Thank you.
Yes. My pleasure, man. My pleasure. And so I think we have yet another demo, right?
That's right.
Right. We have.
So here's another one. So this is Actionable Messages with a company we have partnered with, which is Fieldglass. Again, this is in preview. So I'm going to sign in here. So this is a expense management system. So that's the scenario. And what I'm going to show you here is we're going to create an expense from Fieldglass. and that's going to go through this similar approval process. So let me start creating one quickly. So I'm going to create this expense sheet, and it has to be set up in a certain way.
Yeah, this is cutting edge. This is like fresh off the press. It's going to be productized very soon, but really we appreciate Fieldglass for integrating with us. They showed great excitement, to mention that term again, great excitement about the feature, and they wanted to do something immediately, and we're very happy that we're able to demo here today.
So I'm going to go submit this and click OK. And as you see, it's created and it's pending approval.
I think that once again, I'm the guy who's supposed to approve whenever I get that notification in my email, which should arrive anytime soon, right? Why is it me having that role to approve or reject all the time?
You're great filling in, David.
Really? I don't think so. Like, I'm out of, I don't know what to say now. Come on. Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Oh, Jamie, is that you?
Pretend it's me.
Okay. So again, a different layout for the card, lots more, that's what we call facts, you know, those name-value pairs. Different layout, a lot of information, but we really want those cards to be like at a glance. Like you receive this, you have all the information that you need, and only the information that you need. It's not like those huge HTML emails where there is the information that you need in the middle, and then all around it's like whatever. Now here is just what you need. And I'm going to just go ahead and approve this, and I can just enter a comment for that. I'm going to say, go for it. It's not a vacation, but that expense seems justified to me, so go for it. I'm going to click OK, and go back again over there.
So I'm going to go refresh this, and thanks for your generosity.
I am more than happy.
Go. And it's now set to approved.
One more example of the fact that all of this is so streamlined. It's very, very, very quick. I mean, it does take a few seconds for the email to actually get into my mailbox. But aside from that, this is very, very, very fast. So let's switch back to the deck. So actionable messages via SMTP. As said a few minutes ago, this is really cutting edge. This is a feature that we honestly were not absolutely sure we would mention here at Ignite, but we've been working like around the clock to get it done, essentially, to make it work and to make sure that some partners like Fieldglass could take advantage of it. So those are the three launch partners for now. Microsoft Flow you've seen, Fieldglass you've seen. Soon we're going to have TinyPulse. TinyPulse is that new, well, it's not that new, but it's a service that allows companies to do very quick and targeted surveys. The principle being, if you get a single question survey, you're going to have much more engagement from the people who are supposed to respond to that survey because it's very quick. They don't have to think about it that much. Yet, up until like now, to respond to the surveys, you still had to go to an external website. And per TinyPulse, just that cuts engagement quite a bit. So as of very soon, you're going to be able to respond to the surveys right from Outlook. You're going to receive cards such as these, asking simple questions. You're going to answer right in Outlook, click OK, and boom, you're done. And you can very well imagine that those would actually benefit from the card refresh mechanism, as in you respond to the question, click the OK button, and then at that point, the full card refreshes to indicate you have answered whatever answer you gave to that question. Thank you. With a link maybe to the actual survey on the web to see additional statistics and so on. There's so many things that can be done. And we also have plenty of other partners coming up. We just cannot announce them right now, but again, there's really a lot of enthusiasm around actionable messages via SMTP. Shiva, do you want to take it over?
Thanks, David. So here's the roadmap. So the following are available now in preview for our Office 365 users, specifically from OVA. So that's why it's in preview. So we have connectors in the inbox, including the management UI. We have actionable messages for connectors, both with groups and inbox. Actionable messages for SMTP, something we just saw. And we have commenced broad rollout. So if you wait for a couple of weeks, you should see this lighting up in your tenants if you're on Office 365. And we really encourage you to try that out. Something that's going to come down the pipe pretty soon, over the next few months, is connectors in the inbox as well as actionable messages in Outlook 2016. Again, we know that a majority of our users are in the desktop, so we're really working hard to get that out. Our developers, again, this is a platform, so we have to get something out for developers to really simplify that process. We're going to have an SDK out soon in that time frame so that you can publish and push your actionable messages for both connectors and SMTP mails to our repository. And somewhere down the line, we will also be adding support for actionable messages for other Microsoft clients.
Thanks, Shiva. And yeah, again, one of the most important things here is that this is a platform, and you will be able very, very soon to actually take advantage of this whole thing to implement new connectors, to enable your internal line of business applications with actionable messages. We really urge you to give it a try. It's very, very simple. You probably have existing web services. We support those. Crafting a payload is very easy. Soon we'll probably have a tool that lets you play with the JSON and see immediately what it's going to look like in OWA without you having to do trial and error. There's plenty of things that you can do, scenarios that we haven't even started to imagine just yet. If you have a third-party service that you would like to enable with actionable messages so that other companies can take advantage of them, please sign up with us. There's a form that's available to you. If you want more information about the sign-up process or what that means for you, there's an email address that you can send us questions at. We will be more than happy to help you get whatever it is that you want to get done. And yeah, if there are scenarios, again, for connectors, if you think that some services that we should have integrated are not yet integrated, let us know. We will engage with the right partners, so that multiple ways for you to actually engage with us and push us even further than what we've been able to do so far. Yeah, dev.outlook.com is a good resource. You actually have that slide that summarizes basically all the links that you might want to go to. I'm going to give you a couple seconds for the people who want to take a picture of the slide. All right, well, almost. Okay. There are plenty of other sessions for the Office Developer Platform. There is that one going on right now. If you rush, it's actually a little longer than this one. So if you rush, you can see the last 15 minutes. No, don't do that. Just wait for the stream to be available. But it's a great resource talking about add-ins. You can see the capabilities of add-ins. You can just put that together with the power of connectors and actionable messages. And you can probably imagine how all of these technologies are complementary and not, it's one or the other. They can all work together to further improve the productivity of your teams. Shiva, anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, so there's a repeat session, I believe, as well, that I wanted to call out.
Correct.
That's on Friday. Do you recall the time?
I think it's at 12:15 or something like that. Right now, it doesn't have the right title, but there's a repeat session, yes. So if you know people who would be interested in that topic, please let them know.
Yes, and last but not the least, your feedback is extremely important to us. I hope you found this valuable. So do give us feedback.
Yes,
and once again,
evaluations are
thanks for coming.
Very important to us. Thank you very much.